You sit down at your favorite casual spot, glance at the menu, and think you're in for a simple, satisfying meal. But behind that cheerful server and mouth-watering plate may lurk spoiled ingredients, filthy prep areas, and health code violations that would fail a high school science lab. These 4 restaurant chains are serving more than just food. They're dishing up risk. Once you see what's really happening behind the scenes, you'll never order the same way again. Let's start with 4. IHOP. From the outside, it feels like a breakfast wonderland. Syrup on every table, cartoons on the menu, and the promise of fresh pancakes all day long. But some former employees say IHOP should come with a warning label. Though the brand sells the image of everything being cooked to order, insiders tell a different story. Reheated meals, pre-made mixes, and shortcuts everywhere. Take the omelets, often made with a pre-mixed egg solution poured from cartons. Bacon is pre-cooked in batches and stored in warming drawers. Even the French toast batter? It's not whipped up fresh, but pumped out of pre-packed jugs. Pancakes are technically made fresh, but only once per shift. A single big batch of batter is prepped in the morning and used all day. So, if you're ordering pancakes at 10 p.m., they were likely made with 12-hour-old mix. It gets worse. One employee revealed that the same spatula is sometimes used for eggs, sausage, and pancakes, without cleaning it in between. That blueberry pancake? It might come with a side of sausage grease. Health inspections have found raw eggs stored above fresh strawberries, and sour cream and ranch dressing sitting at temperatures over 50 degrees. The danger zone for bacteria growth. Servers have posted videos showing crusty whipped cream containers, syrup dispensers coated in sticky residue, and dishwashers so overloaded that forks were simply wiped down with napkins and reused. A viral photo even showed a waffle iron with dried batter clinging to it from the night before. The caption? Every waffle has a little history. And let's talk about that syrup. It's not real maple, just artificially flavored corn syrup, dyed brown, and poured into pitchers that sit out on tables all day. One server admitted, "If it's not empty, we don't touch it." Translation: that syrup might have survived 3 meal rushes and a few sneezes. As for the fruit, bananas and strawberries are usually sliced in the morning and left in open bins until night. Workers say, if it looks okay, we use it, even if it's a little brown. Behind the counter, things don't look much better. Some kitchen floors are so greasy they reflect the overhead lights. Trash bins overflow. Drains clog, leaving standing water. And in one now infamous video, a cook stirred a massive vat of soup using a broom handle. Welcome to IHOP, where breakfast may be served all day, but food safety isn't. 3. Sbarro, you know the smell before you even see it. That warm wave of melted cheese and garlic butter wafting through the mall corridor. Sbarro promises a big New York-style slice without the Big Apple price. But behind that oversized pizza under a heat lamp, the reality isn't quite so appetizing. The truth? Sbarro thrives on the illusion of freshness. Former employees reveal that pizzas are often pre-baked in batches, hours before you ever step in line. When someone finally orders, the slices are reheated, either under the lamp or tossed back into the oven. So that crispy crust, it might have been fresh 5 hours ago. Pasta, usually cooked first thing in the morning, drowned in sauce, and left to sit in warming trays all day. One insider described the Alfredo as turning from creamy to gluey by noon, and chunky by 4 p.m. Even the irresistible-smelling breadsticks are brushed with butter-flavored oil and reheated until they're hard enough to chip a tooth. If it could crack enamel, one employee joked, it's ready to serve. Food safety? That's where things get alarming. Multiple health inspections have flagged Sbarro for improper temperature control. Hot foods held below the safe line. Cold ingredients like ranch dressing or pepperoni left out too long. In one case, cooked sausage sat uncovered on a prep table for over an hour. When asked why, a staffer simply said, "We're going to use it later." Great. Nothing like time-traveling toppings. One viral video taken inside a Sparrow kitchen showed uncovered dough collecting dust, sauce containers with stained lids, and cheese bins crusty around the edges. The caption said it best: "Bon appétit, I guess." And then there's the pizza cutter. Not the staff, the tool. Employees admitted it's rarely cleaned between orders, just wiped on a nearby towel. That vegetarian slice you ordered? It might be trailing sausage grease from the last pie. Even the ingredients themselves tell a story. The cheese comes shredded in bulk, packed with anti-caking agents. The dough? Frozen, then thawed, stretched, and sometimes reused if it wasn't sold that day. Leftover slices don't always get tossed either. Some ex-workers admitted they'd just reheat them the next day. "If it still bends," one said, "it goes back under the lamp." So next time you grab a slice at the mall, just know you might not be eating today's pizza. Heck, it might not even be yesterday's. At Sparrow, you're paying for convenience, not quality. 2. Denny's. You hear the name and suddenly you're 17 again, making a 3 a.m. pancake run with your friends. Denny's is America's late-night comfort food headquarters, a place for bottomless coffee, grand slams, and booth-side chats that stretch until sunrise. But peel back the nostalgia, and what you're left with isn't exactly warm and fuzzy. According to former staff, Denny's is less of a restaurant and more of a cafeteria, with heat lamps. Let's start in the freezer, where a surprising amount of Denny's fresh food begins its journey. Hash browns? Frozen. Burger patties? Frozen. Even scrambled eggs at some locations are poured from pre-bagged liquid eggs that resemble yellow milkshake more than breakfast. Pancakes and waffles. They're not flipped fresh each time you order. They're made in batches, stacked on trays, and reheated in the microwave before hitting your plate. In fact, one employee said the only time they clean the waffle iron is when it starts smoking. And if you hear the microwave beep, that's not your table's food warming up. That's the real chef in charge. Health inspectors haven't turned a blind eye either. A Denny's in Los Angeles was cited for a full-blown roach infestation. Another location in Georgia had rodent droppings behind the toaster and under the salad prep table. Behind the counter, cleanliness takes a back seat to speed. One former dishwasher confessed, "We reused rags until they stank." Another said the mop water was gray before it even touched the floor. Food presentation doesn't do much to redeem the experience. A now infamous review showed a Grand Slam breakfast with rubbery eggs, soggy toast, and sausage links that looked like they'd been boiled instead of grilled. The reviewer said, "This looks like hospital food in disguise." And remember those creamy milkshakes? They're often made using soft-serve machines that rarely get a proper deep cleaning. One insider admitted the machine only got taken apart maybe once a week, sometimes less. So that vanilla shake might come with an extra swirl of mold on the side. Consistency is another problem. Some Denny's follow protocol, others make it up as they go. One customer posted 2 side-by-side photos of the exact same menu item from 2 different locations. One looked Instagram-worthy. The other looked like it belonged on a school lunch tray. And we haven't even talked about training, or the lack of it. With high turnover and low wages, new hires are often thrown onto the line, before they even know what's on the menu. One employee recalled being put on the breakfast grill after just 15 minutes of training. Speed is prioritized over safety. Gloves go unchanged. Orders get rushed. And suddenly, the line between hot meal and health risk gets very blurry. You might come to Denny's for comfort food, but you could leave with a very uncomfortable stomach. 1. Chili's. It markets itself as the ultimate casual dining spot. Sizzling fajitas, flame-grilled steaks, and those molten chocolate cakes that ooze in commercials like edible lava. Chili's sells the fantasy of freshly made meals, but according to former employees, what's really happening in the kitchen is more fast food in disguise. Let's start with how most dishes begin. Inside a vacuum-sealed bag. Nearly every entree, From ribs to pasta arrives pre-cooked and frozen. The ribs? Shipped in bulk and reheated. The pasta? Boiled in giant batches and tossed with pre-packaged sauce. Even mashed potatoes. They aren't peeled or mashed by hand. They're dehydrated flakes, rehydrated with margarine and hot water on site. And that signature sizzling skillet sound? It's not coming from the food. It's a trick. Servers admit the hot iron plate is spritzed with water or oil seconds before it hits your table, creating steam that looks fresh but is really just theatrics. What you hear isn't flavor. It's a performance. But sizzle aside, food safety is where things really start to crumble. Several Chili's locations have been hit with health citations for improper food storage. In Texas, inspectors found raw chicken stored above fresh lettuce. In Florida, a restaurant was flagged for keeping items at dangerous temperatures, meaning bacteria had a front row seat to your quesadilla. Cross-contamination? Common, according to employees. Kitchen staff have been known to use the same gloves when handling raw meat, then immediately go back to prepping salsa or salad toppings. One viral photo showed a Chili's employee holding raw steak with bare hands directly over a counter filled with uncovered burger buns. Cleanliness is another concern. Former servers describe sticky soda machines, floors so greasy they felt like skating rinks, and fruit flies buzzing near the bar garnishes. A bartender once posted a video showing lemon wedges soaking in murky water with the caption, "Still want that in your iced tea?" And about that molten cake, the one that looks like dessert heaven? It's frozen. The liquid center is factory injected, then microwaved to melt on command. If it comes out cold in the middle, staff are instructed to just nuke it again and pray the plate hides the scorch marks. Next time someone calls Chili's their go-to dinner spot, ask them if they like their grill marks stamped on, their mashed potatoes rehydrated, and their salsa mixed from concentrate. Because that sizzling plate might have been sitting in a warehouse last month. These 4 chains aren't the only ones cutting corners, but they're some of the most notorious, as reported by former staff, customers, and health inspectors. When a restaurant values speed over safety or optics over hygiene, that's not a place you want to trust your next meal. If this video made you think twice about your go-to dining spot, hit like and subscribe. We've got more truth behind the menu coming your way. Because next time you sit down to order, you deserve to know what's really being served. And remember, the truth? It's not always on the menu.